They put their heart and soul into the game with a vision of winning for themselves and their country. They put in countless hours perfecting their skills while making so that they will taste victory. These are our athletes, and now it's time to meet them up close.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of Up Close with yours truly, Colin Thompson. Today it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you all Melanie De Rosa, professional bodybuilder and still out there doing her thing in her chosen sport. Melanie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Colin.
It's definitely an honor to profile another one of our legends, and I get especially excited when we have our women on board. You know,
Yes.
you got to show some love for our women as
Yes.
well, our women athletes as well.
Yes.
So obviously you've made a name for yourself in your chosen sport of bodybuilding. And first question I have is,
Yes.
how did you get there? How did you choose bodybuilding as a career?
Well, when I was younger, my dad used to bodybuild a little bit. He used to lift weights, and I always was told that I was skinny. I was a skinny little girl, but I had muscles, and everybody used to tease me about my abs and my muscles. And I don't know, it just grew from there. Always having an interest in the sport, but as I started getting older, I would look at the women bodybuilders of that time, Rachel McLeach, Gladys Portuguese, and I admire the fact that they were very feminine but muscular, and I just thought it was a beautiful combination. So when I was in college, I played sports for the college. I played softball and field hockey for my college, and as we got ready for the events that we were doing, we also had to do gym work. So I started really liking the gym back then. And I said, when I finish college, I'm going to go into bodybuilding. And I had pictures of all my bodybuilding women that I admired, and I had them all up in my room. And people used to come in and say, "What, you want to be a bodybuilder?" But but I had my girls set on bodybuilding. Not to do anything with it other than to compete and just have fun with it, because I really I liked the look, and I was already muscular, so thin but muscular, so I didn't feel that it was that far off. And once I finished college, I decided that was what I was going to do, and I started from there.
So your friends, how did they react, and family and everyone else? Because that's nothing you really associate,
Yeah.
women with bodybuilding in Bermuda, certainly in my lifetime coming up.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't something that there were a few women doing it. There was Marie Beach and Dawn Fabula. They were two that I knew of in Bermuda doing bodybuilding. And okay, the other one slips my mind, but she was really good. I can't remember her name. But anyway, those three, I didn't really know them at the time, but when I decided to bodybuild, it had nothing to do with anybody and anybody's opinion. I was always a person who just did my own thing. If I liked it, I did it. And a lot of times my friends weren't even in sports that I did. They were just, they just accepted me for who I was and what I wanted to do. And people would just support me. And there was a lot of negativity from people that didn't know me, that because, woman bodybuilder, they looked at it as, okay, what's wrong with her? She's different, or she has something got to be wrong with her. And it was just a lot of talk behind the scenes. People didn't know me. And when I came back from college, I didn't really have any friends here, because I had gone through a stage in my life where I had gotten sick while I was in college. And when I came back that year that I was diagnosed as having severe rheumatoid arthritis, none of my friends came by. None of my friends came around, because I think at the time there was a stigma with the AIDS virus and all sorts of other things that were pretty negative. And so I had gone from 115 pounds to 105. And so I looked very either anorexic or like I could have possibly had HIV, I guess. So people just assumed, no one asked. So I didn't have any friends at the time. So when I to take a year off of school, I couldn't feed myself, couldn't do anything for myself. I was literally bedridden, and I had to go to Florida for treatment. That was the year I took off from school, and I was in my room, and like I said, I couldn't walk. I needed crutches, and um, it was just hard. The bed hurt, everything hurt, and it was from head to toe. So I prayed and I asked God to literally take my life. I said, "Can you just get me out of this?" I said, I can't live like this." I was only um, 27, and I said, I'm going from a athlete who just all my life I was in sports, track and field hockey, basketball, everything. I swam. So I went from that active lifestyle to this, where I couldn't make heads or tail out of it. Why, I didn't know. So I prayed and asked the Lord to take my life. So I said, this is pretty funny, but I said, Lord, I said, I'm going to go to sleep now, and I'm hoping that I won't wake up. Anyway, I woke up and I said, okay, great. I said, okay, so now I'm still here. And I said, well, and I even told him, I said, well, I'm not taking my own life. So if you're leaving me here, it's for a reason. So I literally crawled into the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror, and I said, okay, this is what you have and this is what you got to deal with. So what are we going to do? We're going to make something out of this. I said, and you're not going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. You're not going to be bedridden for your rest of your life. You've got to get out and do something. So I did what I know best, and to exercise. So every morning I crawled out into the living room and I started watching a program that was low impact um, body exercises. So I just started moving with the lady, and just bending my arms and trying to get my arms up and just stretch my legs out. So I did it every day. And before you knew it, I was on to soup cans, and then I was on to filling water bottles up, and then I was on to those big water jugs and filling them up and squatting and lifting, and still using a crutches to walk. This is the year that I was in Florida, and the doctor there said, "Oh my goodness, you're improving rapidly. What's happening? What are you doing?" I said, "I'm working out." So he said, "Just keep doing what you're doing." Meanwhile, I was undergoing all sorts of treatments, gold treatments, all sorts of treatment I was going through. And after that year, um, I put myself back into college, finished my year out. I had another year left. So I finished that year out off and on, using a cane while I was seeing a rheumatologist out there. And so when people would ask me one day, because rheumatoid arthritis is really, it's crazy, because one day I could be limping like crazy and the next day I'm not, so it'll affect maybe my arms today, maybe my hands today, maybe my feet, it doesn't matter, my spine. So I went back to college, and so when I would have to use my cane, I would just tell people, "Oh, it's an old injury. It's acting up today," because I didn't want people to look at me differently. I didn't want people to pity me, and I didn't want people to say, "Oh, can I do that for you?" I If I wanted help, I wanted to be able to ask for it, but I didn't want people to just come to my rescue because I needed to fight. And I did. And so I graduated, came back home, and I studied in 1990. I started personal training. I was also I graduated um, in special education, bachelor's in special education, and I taught in the education system for 16 years. Meanwhile, while I was doing that, I was also studying to be a personal trainer, but I used my personal training on myself, and I wanted to get the most out of my bodybuilding career. And so I trained for 2 years, 1990 to 1992. Lost my father about a month before I was actually gonna compete in my first bodybuilding show, and that was in 1992. And from 1992, the rest was history. I just went from there, competition to competition. I eventually moved from lightweight to middleweight. Never got to heavyweight. And I turned pro in 2005 in Aruba as a middleweight contender. And after that, it was on to the pro circuit.
Now, that was a pretty significant achievement because I understand you were the first
Yeah.
Bermudian born. Is that correct?
Yes, I was the first Bermudian male or female and to get my pro card in bodybuilding. Um, and I just want to say this is that the whole time that I was becoming a bodybuilder, I still had the arthritis. I still had to fight with that. I struggled with that. But it motivated me to push, and I still became a professional with dealing with dealing with the arthritis. And I really want people to understand that it's like you limit yourself by allowing your mind to believe that you can't do. So if it's anything you want to do, I don't care what you have. If it's something you want to do, there's a way to do it. It may not come out the same way as other people because I had to modify a lot of things
Mhm.
in order to get the results that I needed to shape my body. And if you look at the Paralympics right now, those people are incredible because they fight all the odds in order to get out there and do what they do. So it's achievable. It's not a death sentence. It's not I don't know why I was afflicted with this, but then since I've been through it, since during my journey, I've realized that boy, it's been a blessing because I've been able to modify for people that have issues. Like they come into me, they may have injuries, they may need rehab for new knees, new hips, and I'm literally able to modify things because I modified so much for myself that I'm able to modify for them. But I'm also very understanding of people's um, illnesses or any type of like, and if they have diabetes, if they have high blood pressure, like, I think I'm very empathetic to working with them to help them get the best results for their lives as well. So I think that it's actually been a blessing and not a curse. Um, there are days, of course, I say I wish I didn't. Got deformities from it, and I've been made fun of as well, and it hurts, but at the same time, like, my skin is very thick because, like I said, I pushed myself through bodybuilding, and I owe it all to God. It's nothing that I did. It's the strength He gave me and, um, the ability and, the creativity too, because He's allowed me to be very creative in my thinking and the way I do things, and so I've always, like I said, just done what was best for me and I don't think about what other people feel about it or what they think about it because I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm doing something positive and I just think that when you have a dream, you don't let people get into your headspace. You dream and you push yourself towards that dream. And you never want to say if I coulda, woulda, shoulda. You do, you try. And if you don't get there, is the challenge of just even trying to get there is exciting, because that's another journey. You don't make it, hey, move on to something else, but never give up.
Truly inspiring. I'm just blown away here. just just listening to you. A testimony, really. And indeed, glory be to God
Yeah,
for
most definitely.
giving you that strength to endure
Yeah.
and do what you had to do.
Yes.
I really think anyone out there who's listening certainly would
Oh,
be
yeah.
inspired, especially those who may be in a similar predicament.
Yeah.
But You know, it's very moving, and I could just imagine the emotional toll that it took,
Oh, yeah.
and how you said that, you know, people might otherwise you might have thought would be in your corner,
Yeah.
kind of distance themselves,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
a lot of naysayers, etc.
Yeah, and I think people get afraid when they don't know what's happening with somebody, they get afraid, and so they stay away. Um, and I used to have ride this big Honda 125, this big old white bike, and, it was a big bike for a girl, and a small girl at that, I was only 105 pounds when I was riding, and, I used to just go along about my business, and I had this one lady tell me that she had to apologize to me because she thought I was all that because I had this bike and I would ride around by myself and walk around town with my little short hairdo. And she just, you know, thought that, oh, she thinks she's all that and blah, blah, blah. And I said, really? Like here I am fighting this battle and I'm just minding my own business, doing my own thing. And and people have this preconceived notion. I always tell people, you can't just judge people by what you see. You have to get to know somebody to know what the story is because half the time there's a story behind it. And it's not a bad story either. It may be a story of struggle. It may be a story of overcoming something that, you know, or what they're living through. You never know what people are going through. So you can't just judge people because of what you think you see. And, anyways, she apologized. She says, "Oh my gosh," because I'm very silly and very funny, and I like to laugh and joke. And so, she was working with me at the time, and, she just realized that, "Oh gosh, this girl's really down to earth," and I didn't give her that, those props at all. But yeah, so yeah, it's been a lot. Been through a lot, emotionally and, friendship-wise. And, in 1990, I met my best friend that I have now, Eleanor Furtado, and, she was the one person that I met that year that, has always been there for me, So, like, if I'm hurting, if I end up in the hospital, any reason, she will leave St. George's and come and, see if I'm okay. So, I always tell my daughter, "You don't need a lot of friends, just need
Just that
that one
one special
that
one.
that's gonna be like a sister and be there,
Well,
support you." So, yeah, but I have a lot of friends, mind you, I do have a lot of people that I'm friendly with now. I have some wonderful clients that, gosh, they look out for me. I look out for them. I'm very blessed, and, in my journey, I also use my, platform to promote my Heavenly Father because I have people that come to me hurting and, they don't just come for me for my personal training, but they come for me to me because they know they can share and I'm gonna try my best to give them words of comfort or just listen because sometimes that's all they need. But it's more than just, a trainer situation. It's, it's a I guess a friendship, it's a counseling, it's just everything all wrapped up in one. But I love it. I love going to work. I love my job. I when I got out of education, people thought I was crazy just to drop it and go into in a business, a gym. But it was just my passion has always been physical, just sports, period. And there's so many avenues to reach people and help people through sports. So I haven't given up on the young people because I open my gym up to them and the ones that I can support when they're playing soccer or on the soccer team or on the volleyball team, they come there and, I try my best to, sponsor them by letting them come and work out there without any cost. So I try to give back and reach those who are doing something positive with their lives as well. And those that aren't, I'm trying to encourage them to do. So yeah, it's a journey, it's a mission.
I remember back in my youth, the first time I met you, you were playing softball for Eaglettes.
Right. That's right, the Eaglettes.
With the Jericho.
I never had no
No Jericho.
I never had a Jericho.
If I got the wrong I got the wrong one.
I was naturally curly. No, I never had a Jericho.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
But yeah, the Eaglettes. I played softball for the Eaglettes. I played netball for Rangers, netball for
Mm.
Somerset, and field hockey for the Orioles. The Orioles. Yeah. And yeah, and then in school, I played all the other sports as well. And track and field was my heart, but I didn't pursue that. I wish I would have, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then later down the track, I observed you doing bodybuilding, and I was like,
Yes.
wow, that blew me away. That was something different.
Yes.
But you were thriving in it, and it's amazing to now know, you've told us this story with, the trials and tribulations you were going on behind the scenes. You would have never known.
Yeah, no. And I think that bodybuilding like really saved me because even though it was hard, but it allowed me to stay upright, walk upright, because with the rheumatoid, I don't know if you know, but everything can you can um, lose your posture and um, have a hard time turning your neck and just move. Period. So a lot of deformities come with arthritis, but I tell people who have it um, to move. Movement is the best thing for it. It hurts at first, and then after a while, you feel better for it. But yeah, I think that um, people also, when I first got rheumatoid, and like I said, it's not something I wanted and not something I thought I deserved. But I also had the other side with people saying that, "What are you old? Are you old with your no person?" And that was hurtful because I didn't ask for this. I didn't choose it. And what I want people to know too about that is that um, it happens to people that are young, and happens to a lot of women that get it in their early 20s, early to mid 20s. So yeah, so it's not a old thing, and I think people also don't pay it any attention because they think it's for old people, and they dismiss it, and they don't realize what your journey is because it makes you very tired. So you're fighting a lot. You're fighting a lot. You're fighting pain. You're fighting fatigue. So yeah. So I just think that um, bodybuilding just helped me to move through it, navigate it, and after I was on the federation. I was a vice president. I was the coach. I was PR person. And then from there, once I finished all that, now I'm a professional judge for the NPC. So, it's sort of catapulted me to continue in the sport, but behind the scenes more than in front of the camera. Yeah.
So what does it take, to be a bodybuilder? You know?
Well, it's first dedication. You have to be dedicated to what you're doing. You have to live it. You have to eat it, sleep it, drink it, pretty much. Your meal plans have to be tight. And um, like you don't really want to indulge in worldly things. You want to you really have to narrow it down. If you're going to be a good bodybuilder, you're going to have to just focus in on that. And it consumes your life. My daughter, I had her in January 1999, and I trained the whole time. I trained through the pregnancy. I trained after the pregnancy, and then that summer I competed in the CAC games, and I competed in when I was having her. I competed in 3 competitions: El Salvador, Dominican Republic, and Bermuda. So yeah. So you know, um, you have to. It's everything. And even when my daughter was growing up, she grew up on bodybuilding food. She didn't have the food that regular children, because I was cooking for her. I didn't want to cook twice. So this is what she ate, and she loved it. She just thought it was the best. She didn't know any better. What they don't know, don't hurt them. Like, she grew up nice and healthy.
I would say so.
But she was with me during all my pro shows. She would do my makeup. She was 8 or 9 years old, doing my makeup, getting me ready for stage. Um, so, I just taught her about in my lifestyle, just the healthy lifestyle that we lived in, and she went on all the trips. It was good. It was great. But yeah, so it takes a lot. It takes a lot of hard work, um, pushing yourself when you don't have anything else left. But rest is just as important as the workout.
Mm.
Um, there are several categories now that you can go in, and each one requires a little bit of different training. So they're not all the same. But my love is bodybuilding, male and female bodybuilders. That's what I prefer, and I still get excited anytime I can travel and watch a bodybuilding show or now judge them. I love it. But yeah, the desire is still there for me. Um, if I could, I would. If I could get back on stage, I never wanted to come off stage, but I had some trials and tribulations with the arthritis. Mainly because of stressful situations in a business, and so that those stressful days took its toll. So I ended up just not being able to compete. But I never wanted to get off the stage. I thought I was going to be on stage until the day the Lord decided to take me off this earth. That's what my dream was. But He had other plans for me. So yeah, so it's been a journey and it's been great.
And it's still ongoing.
Still ongoing.
Still
Still
ongoing.
ongoing. And now I try to encourage others to get into the sport. I've influenced a few and I've trained quite a few people to go into the sport. But yeah, I'd like to keep my sport going. Yeah.
And certainly sounds like a lot of sacrifice, discipline and sacrifice. You
Not a
talked
sec-
about letting go a lot of, social
Yeah. Yeah.
activities, worldly events, whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. You got to stay committed.
Yeah. I went to a wedding while I was competing. I went to a wedding.
Why not? You went through pregnancy.
And why not? Well, I went to the wedding and did I have my lunchbox in the car? And I had to excuse myself from the reception and just go to the car, eat my food, then come back in. So yeah, that's what we do. We as a bodybuilder, I've gone out to lunch with my own lunch, and I asked the people, "Do you mind if I just eat this? I can't eat anything else." But I have my stuff there. So we always carry our little lunchbox that has all of our snacks, and you don't want to miss meals. You want to get your meals on time, which is very important. But yeah, and we supplement. We supplement with like amino acids and things like that to help the muscle to continue to grow and develop as you're breaking it down. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of sacrifice, and um, it's I think it out of all the sports, I think that's one of the hardest as far as discipline, as far as your eating and training is concerned. But if you look at the elite athletes that were in the Olympics, they all go through that now. Their meals are regimented now, and their training is not just out on the track if they're track athletes, or not just whatever sport they're doing, but it's in the gym. Because that is so important. The resistance training. Resistance training is important for all sports to be elevated, and also resistance training is good for women as they get older, because it helps with bone density. So you want your bone density to be better, you want to do some resistance training.
As well as the muscle mass as we age, the
Yeah, and
muscles.
so yes, muscles diminish. So you want to keep that up by eating, getting enough protein in, especially women. Women, we don't have the fortunate um testosterone in our bodies. So testosterone helps to keep your muscle, but we have a lot of estrogen. So we lose muscle as we get older. So it's important to keep the protein up and to do some resistance training. You don't have to go to the gym and power lift. It's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm just asking you to put a little resistance on there so that you can keep your bone density up.
And certainly I've seen some examples in the gym. You know, I see some of our senior ladies out there, they're still doing it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I look at the weights that they're pushing, I'm like, wow, amazing.
I have my seniors. I mean, I have a 81-year-old and 70, 77-year-olds, and it's a little group of them. It's three of them, and I crack them. Like, I don't. They, they train like they're young. They keep saying I'm gonna kill them, but they love every moment of it. And but they like to have their little beverages. So they say, well, because we come to you, we can have a beverage. But yeah, they have a good time though. But they do well. They're able to. They're not bending over. They're upright. They're able to play their little sports that they like to play. They get one of them's out there cycling in Canada right now, and she's having the time of her life. But it helps with longevity. Training in the gym.
It's amazing,
Yeah.
amazing, and I'm certain they're enjoying it because they keep coming back.
They keep coming back. They keep coming back, and they call me crazy.
So, so you made this transition,
Yeah.
pursuing your passion for bodybuilding,
Yes.
obviously inspired by your dad, right? You said your
Yes.
dad used to do this well.
Yeah.
And then you go into your first event. What was that like? On the
Oh my
stage for
Lord.
the very first time.
Let me tell you something. That was like the best ever because when you do something for the first time, there's no anticipation. Nobody's got you number one. Nobody's got you number two. Everybody's just, oh, it's first time. Let's just go out there and have fun. So my first year, I was on stage with people like Smokey and Candy Lee and Dawn Fabler. Who else was out there? Then the guys, Travis Clark and Dwayne Otterbridge, and it was just a bunch of us out there that year, my first year, 1992. And so I went to Olympic Club back then, and we had a big contingent out there, and it was so exciting. I won my category. I don't know how many people were in my category, but I was little, and I was in the lightweight. Won my category and got to go up against the overall, and Candy Lee Fogo won that year. But from then, and the crowd screaming. I don't know who's rooting for me, but I'm taking all the screams. I'm enjoying myself. I had such a blast, and then I was able to go to Jamaica that year and compete as part of the bodybuilding team. And the funny thing about that year, now, I don't know what people are going to say when I say this, but the funny thing about that year was that there were, I think, 9 of us that went that year. And there was Candy Lee and myself, the only 2 females. So the newspaper did a write-up, and I wasn't in it. They didn't mention my name. And they said high hopes for everybody in there that was going to compete. And then I just wasn't, they just forgot me, I guess, because I was so tiny and, lightweight. Anyway, and most of us, I think all of us were first timers. So we went to Jamaica, and I met everybody at the pool, and I would go to the pool every day. And so by the time I left there, I knew everybody from every country. And I was having myself a good old time. So when it was time for me to go on stage, I was having a blast. And the whole audience was saying, number 3, number 3. And when I turned around, I ended up winning my category. And I was the only one that came back with a trophy because nobody else made it to the finals. So I got whisked up to ZBA. Mike Sharp called me up there, and I became an instant celebrity. So it was like the best time of my life because, like I said, there were no expectations. I just went and had a good time enjoying what I set out to do. And and I came back with the only trophy.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it was great.
That reminds
My
me
first
of the scripture, the stone to build a refuge.
That's right. I was at
You that's there.
definitely. But yeah,
And you know, what's some of the other success you enjoyed throughout your career?
Well, my first time, actually, it wasn't my first time, in my pro show. I can't remember what year that was, but I had the opportunity to, be in a book where they, featured all the professional women bodybuilders. So that was really exciting. That was in Atlantic City, and, um, and one of my pro shows, I've forgotten which one it was now, but I just remember the feeling I had. It was really special because I was on stage and I'm competing with a lot of my heroes, these women that I admired for years and years and years. And now I'm up there and I'm tiny,
Hmm.
but not huge. But, the camaraderie that these women had supporting one another backstage. We were all in the room, the waiting room, and, you know, they they looked at me, they included me, they advised me, and they told me that, you have a really good physique. You just put on some more size, you're gonna be awesome, keep it up. The encouragement from these women, and it was just it was just really, really, really nice to see and feel because you get a lot of negativity. People, when you're doing something and you get some success, they want to knock you down, they want to talk about you. And this was just so uplifting. So every time I traveled in my pro shows, and it was just so positive, and it made me want to come back home and work harder because everything was just so positive. And so I waited. I was very shy, always been very shy, but, so I always wait until the crowd's pretty much gone, and then I'd come out. But this time I came out quickly, and there were people literally waiting down to get my autograph. And, a lot of the people that came up to me that night, they said that they just appreciated the fact that I was very feminine. I was still feminine and muscular, so that it inspired a lot of women that like bodybuilding but didn't like the, women that got too big, and were more mannish than feminine. So that was, like, so inspiring. Yeah, so yeah, and I really enjoyed that. And then another highlight was, meeting the big guys. I went to Muscle Fitness Camp years ago when I first started, 1990. I went to Muscle Fitness Camp, and, we got trained by a lot of the, Carla Dunlop and, uh I've forgotten some of the Flax, what it wasn't Flax Wheeler, Sean Ray. Sean Ray. It was a bunch of bodybuilders that were there, and they gave us tips on nutrition. We took seminars, nutrition, and uh, how to pose, how to train. So I did a lot of research before I even started competing. And I went to Laura Corval's home. She had a little home in Maine, and she had just maybe 4 people at a time. And so we trained together and ate, and she taught us how to eat. She had a cookbook that she taught us how to fix our meals so they taste good and they weren't just, plain and boring like mine were. But but yeah, so those were, memories that, I really treasure. And even like traveling to CAC, because bodybuilding has allowed me to travel, all around the Central American and Caribbean. And the bodybuilders, the professionals that I met, and not just that, the other bodybuilders that were amateurs like myself, but they were just awesome. And you just you all have this thing in common, and it's like a sisterhood and a brotherhood.
On big
Really
family.
nice, yeah. And whenever you travel outside of this island and you go to these places, the encouragement you get, the feedback you get from these places is just unbelievable. But my one memory that I hold close is when I won my pro card in Aruba 2005, and I didn't go out there without any expectations because my mother had recently passed, and my brother. And so I was just coming back after just taking about a year or so off. And yeah, so they took me overseas, and I remember I said, Ross Caesar was helping me with my nutrition back then, and so he was like, Mel, when you get on stage, kill him with that back shot. My back was supposed to be one of the highlights. So I just had that in my head: kill him with the back shot, Mel, kill him with the back shot. But I ran away with a nice crew with six girls that went that year, and we I just remember having my journal and making sure that I ate on time, I posed on time, I slept on time. So I never really went out of my room. So whenever those girls were giving out, I asked them to get me this and get me that, right? But I never ran out. I had everything on a schedule, and wasn't going for the win, just going to do well. And the night of the prejudging, I had several people from other countries, a lot of guys kept coming up to me and said, oh, you have this, you have this. I didn't think nothing of it, because all I know is that, they might have just been saying that to, just make me feel good, whatever. I didn't put any weight behind that, but went back to the room, got ready for the next night, and just had my journal, just kept on doing what I had to do. And that night, I was on stage with two other ladies, and we were going for the overall title. And because two of us had the same number, and they go by numbers, not names. So they took so long to get us out of our position. So they'll say front double bicep. So we're in the front double bicep, holding it. And we're like, okay, are they going to tell us to stop right now? And we were in pain because we were there all night. And so they did it again. They told us relax, then they did it again. And then they finally switched the numbers out, had us go off stage, had us come back on stage, switch the numbers out. So at the end of it, they said, and the overall winner is, and they said my name. But I just stood there because I'm pretty sure I didn't hear my name. So I'm standing there, and one of the other girls stepped forward, and then she stepped back, and then I stood there, and then they had to say my name 3 times before I realized that it was me they were talking about. And I cried, I laughed, I don't know, there's emotions. There's never been another time like that for me, and that was unexpected, but so long coming. I started in 1992, and I got my pro card in 2005. So it was a long journey to get my pro card, but it was so worth it, and it was exciting.
And that opened up another
Yes.
big door of opportunities, and you got to go all over, travel
Yeah.
some more, and
Travel some more.
compete.
Yeah.
So what's the other jurisdictions you got to compete at?
Well, mostly all through the US, because that's where the big shows were going on. Atlanta, Texas, Los Angeles, yeah, other places I can't even remember. But yeah, been all over, competing as a bodybuilder, and before I actually became a pro bodybuilder, I used to travel with April Chowdhury. I trained her for fitness, and she turned pro in fitness, and so we used to travel as well before I turned pro, and go all over the US competing as well. So it's been a journey. It's been a journey. Now I'm trying to support Ross and try to go to some of those places that he's going now, because he's a professional as well. So yeah, it's been great. Yeah, I wouldn't change a thing.
So you would definitely encourage anyone out there who may be interested to get
Yeah,
in this sport.
yeah, bodybuilding can take you places. The key is, take the advice. I tell people, even at the gym, I say, use the wisdom that's around you, because a lot of young people come up with this mindset that they know better, and they may know some new things, but some of the old things work really well. and shouldn't be touched, because they work so well and they keep you safe. So I tell people, when you see wisdom, use it. You see people that's been there before you, use them. Ask questions, and so that they can help you to get through your journey if that's what you want to do. I had people like Reggie Matthew, who was my mentor. Like I trained with him. He advised me, and the older guys like Cliff Luby and people like that that were around back in the day when I was just dreaming about being on stage. Um, not all of them got on stage, but they were in the sport and they had such knowledge, and I still use a lot of their techniques today when I'm training other people for the sport. Um, but yeah, wisdom goes a long way, and then you add your new knowledge with that, and you're unstoppable after that, you know. But yeah, just ask around if it's something you're interested in, go to people that you know that are in the sport. Don't get into your own head and believe that you've arrived, because this is a sport over time. It's not a sport that you do instantly. It's not instant gratification. You know, in order for you to be successful, you got to put some time in. You got to go through some things before you can be somebody. So just take that with a grain of salt, because you just don't want to um, appear cocky, and then before you know it, your time in the sport is going to be short. It's going to be short.
Definitely not a sprint.
No, it's not a sprint.
It's a marathon.
Yeah, it's a marathon. Yeah. And believe it, I was a sprinter. I didn't like marathons, but I love this marathon. It's the only one that I love. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely a marathon.
So when you're out there judging and you're looking at the athletes on the stage, and I'm sure it conjures up memories of you being in that position, and do you ever tell them hurt it?
No, I can't say that.
Burn it and freeze it.
But honestly, like I wish I was still up there. Honestly, I really, my desire to be up there and to is still there. I can't get rid of that. But it inspires me to just push others to get up there, and it's so nice and so rewarding. And a lot of times people go up there and they've accomplished losing a lot of weight, and then they go up there and they might not be totally ready as the audience might think, but to get up there and put yourself out there, because this sport, you're putting yourself out there. You got nothing to cover you up. You can't hide behind anything. You're just out there. And when you put yourself out there like that, that has to be celebrated, because that's an accomplishment in itself. The stage is not a it can be a scary place, because like I said, you're vulnerable and you're being judged on your body. You're not being judged on a skill that you're not being judged on a race. You're being judged on your body, your personal physique. So that takes a lot a lot of encouragement and a lot of courage to just get out there. But once you're out there, honestly, I was so shy, but when I got on stage, it's like, who was that lady out there? Like I became, empowered. I felt great. It's just a whole different person out there than this little shy person that's sitting right here with the cameras on me.
Where is she too? I don't know. You certainly ain't been shy.
Yeah, the thing is that when you've been through some things and you've got something to say, it's easy to just say it. But when you're new at something and you're shy, it's really hard. You need a lot more prompting. But I'm an older lady now. I still think my daughter says, "Mommy, what are you, 15?" She thinks that I am silly and young. But I've been through some things. I've got some knowledge behind me, and so I have something to say. And when you have something to say, your shyness has to be put to the back burner. And I say it, and I was willing to come and talk to you because I just thought it was important for people to hear my story. When I first got diagnosed, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't want people to know because I didn't want to be treated differently. But as my journey has progressed, I just think it's important for people to know that if I did it, you could do it. It may not be even be in my sport, but if I could fight this illness, then yeah, you can do it too. And you can do whatever sport you want to do, or be whatever you want to be, CEO or COO, whoever you want to be. If it's don't let something that you've been diagnosed with hold you back, because that's not who you are. That's just a part of what makes you the person you are, you know? So who you are is in here. And I like who I am. I've always liked who I am. But this is coming, put a little wrench into my, it thought it was gonna put a wrench into my little program, but turn it around for good, right? That's what God does, right? Turns it around for good. Yeah. So yeah.
Truly, truly, nothing shy of remarkable. Truly remarkable
Yes.
story, and I'm glad and just blown away, and just so glad you've taken the opportunity to put it out there and to inspire others.
Yeah.
That
Thank you so much.
may be dealing with similar
Yeah.
dilemmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the part about, like, you can, it could make you down, it can make you depressed, it can make you, there are days where I couldn't even get up. There were days where after I worked all week, by the time the weekend came, I was flat out. And I'm talking about not too long ago either. And it could, if you allow it to, it can get in your headspace and cause you to not want to go on. But life is great, life is beautiful. And you just have to look at life differently and look at how you can be. Once you learn to inspire other people or be there for others, everything looks better. When you just focus in on, oh, me and woe is me, and you start really focusing on that, it's just going to take you down. But when you start focusing on other people and their issues, you find that yours don't mean much anymore. Or you can put them on the back burner, pick them up later if you want, or just not pick them up at all and just keep moving forward. So it's all how you receive the diagnosis. I could have received it and said, okay, this is a death sentence here for me. I'm done. What am I going to do? But no, you don't do that. Because like I said, that's only a small part of who you are. It doesn't define you. So yeah, so you can get it. Yeah, you just have to fight. Just have to fight. And if you find it hard, my number's all over the place. Call me. Because I tell people all the time, if you're not, if you're feeling some sort of way, I'll listen. I might not have the answers, but I'll listen. And have a, be there to lend a hand if I need to. But it's just important. Listen to others. Don't judge. See what their story is, because you might like what's underneath there.
Don't judge the book by the cover.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's about time we wrap up. But before we go, would you like to send a special shout out to anyone in particular, or say anything to our audience?
Well, I'd like to shout out to my daughter, who's not feeling well, but I'd like to shout out to Melanie De Rosa, and to my friend Eleanor, whose birthday is today, and just to the UFC team. I appreciate you all, and yeah, I just think if you haven't experienced the Heavenly Father, try talking to him. He'll help you out and he'll get you where you need to be.
Amen. Well, Melanie, thanks again for taking the time out of your busy schedule, extremely busy schedule. It's been a blast. It's been very humbling, very empowering, very inspiring.
Thanks.
And it's been a blast.
Thanks for allowing me to share my story.
Amen. What a tremendous story that is. I mean, I'm inspired. Well, folks, fortunately, that's all the time we have for today. But before we go, I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors. I'd like to give a shout out to our fellow production crew, and also to you, our viewing audience, and look forward to seeing you again real soon right here on Up Close with yours truly, Colin Thompson.